With Pokémon Pinball's release on June 28, 1999, North America was quickly trying to adapt all of the Japanese Pokémon releases to the West. So literally 2 days later, the next official Pokémon game release happened on the final day in June. But looking at this super handy graphic that I made, all of these games were already out in Japan, and all of these will be adapted to North America, with the exception of the green version. So it's hard to know for certain if all of these games were being worked on simultaneously and certain ones finished before others, or if certain games were prioritized over others. But whatever the reason, the Japan releases and North American releases were pretty different. This next game, Pokémon SNAP, was only 3 months old in Japan at the time of its North American release, so maybe an English release was in the works at the same time. Pokémon Yellow had almost been out for a year in Japan at this point, and that was still in the works. I'm sure there are developmental and financial reasons for these release dates, but North America now had its third official Pokémon release, basically at the same time as Pokémon Pinball. I already covered what was going on with the franchise at part 2 at this point, so I highly doubt much of anything happened on June 29th exactly. Hey, maybe that Gyarados card finally got traded. This next game, Pokémon SNAP, seemed like a bit of a risk for the franchise. The whole basis of Pokémon was to catch and battle, with an emphasis put on catching them all. So now we get a game that doesn't involve catching or battling in any way. In fact, the concept for Pokémon SNAP is the exact opposite. You don't catch the Pokémon per se, but you do catch them through the use of photography. You are intended to leave all of the Pokémon to live in their own environment. You are now going on a safari trying to catch as many photographs of different Pokémon that you can find. So kind of like how I mentioned that the concept of Pokémon Pinball made a lot of sense, this one really does as well, although also being a bit of a risk. The idea for taking pictures of wild Pokémon in their habitats is fitting for the wild animal aspect of the series, but then again, that's all you do. If you were to describe the gameplay of Pokémon SNAP, it would simply be, you take some pictures of animals. And that may not be for everyone, especially fans of the mainline games, and I was skeptical of the idea myself. Pokémon SNAP was originally not going to be a Pokémon game at all. The idea for a safari-type photography game went all the way back to 1995, before Pokémon or the Nintendo 64 were a thing. It was going to be called Jack and the Beanstalk, but the idea was shelved pretty quickly. Once Pokémon became the monster hit that it was, the idea to blend the two together was born. It was developed by HAL Laboratory, returning from Pokémon Pinball. Representing Nintendo in the 5th generation of video gaming, the Nintendo 64 debuted in 1996 in both Japan and North America. Both the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation were absolute breakthroughs in video gaming, showing off the capabilities of 3D environments to explore. It went through a 5-year life cycle, being around until 2002 when the GameCube took over. So by mid-1999, it was in the second half of its life. But the very idea of now being able to see Pokemon in 3D graphics was huge. Gaming-wise, this was the first time North American audiences could do so. Hey You Pikachu was already out in Japan, so this wasn't the first ever, and there technically was Super Smash Bros., which kinda counts for Pikachu and Jigglypuff at least. But in North America, there were only the mostly ugly sprites of red and blue to look at, and they were just still images. Also Pokemon Pinball, but those were also just still images. So going from this to seeing Pokemon move and walk around in colorful, lively environments was monumental. So per tradition, let's check out the box for Pokémon SNAP and see what this game was about. Once again, pretending this is June of 1999, and you are seeing this for the first time. So we get the entire background of a Pokeball close-up, but instead of a button in the middle, it's a camera lens. Oh, sorry, the Nintendo 64 Pokemon lens. We are then shown a whopping 12 different Pokemon emerging from the lens. Going clockwise, we have Meowth, Pidgey, Electrode, Squirtle, Eevee, Pikachu, Poliwag, Doduo, Zubat, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Electabuzz. A nice assortment of Pokemon here. You got your mascot and Pikachu as well as the 3 starters. To me, the one that always stood out the most though is Zubat. Bulbasaur and Pikachu probably pop the most with the yellow and green over the red background, but Zubat is like right in your face there. And Zubat is usually a very annoying find in the main game, so that's kind of funny. I don't hate Zubat. In the bottom left, we get Catching Pokemon is a Snap, and then the main logo in front of a roll of film. It's a pretty decent cover though. You can easily determine that this is a photography game and that there are a variety of Pokemon to see. So let's check out the back of the box, and oh boy, there's a lot here. Professor Oak needs your help, as usual. The professor has asked you to capture the wild Pokemon of Pokemon Island on film. Tour the island in your 01 vehicle and snap pictures of Pokemon in their natural habitat. Oh, we have to be in a vehicle? I was kind of expecting we would be walking around like in the main games. Wild Pokemon are often camera shy, so you'll have to use special items to bring them out in the open. Okay, so kind of like the Safari Zone in Red and Blue, the area where you wander around and instead of battling, you throw food and rocks at the poor creatures. Only the best shots will do for the Professor's Pokemon Report, so sharpen your photography skills and get ready to snap! Gosh, it would be a shame if I messed up the Professor's Report. Yeah, who's he reporting this to anyway? The first ever N64 game to feature the world-famous Pokemon, fully rendered in 3D! Well, as I said, there technically was Super Smash Bros. At this point, and Hey You Pikachu, and Pokemon Stadium in Japan, but this is certainly one of them. Explore the many environments of Pokemon Island, like the sunny beach, the mysterious caves, and even a red-hot volcano. I'm not sure what Pokemon Island is, but yeah, it sounds fun. Many different types of Pokemon inhabit the island. See how many you can catch on film. Print your photos as stickers at Pokémon SNAP stations. Visit Pokemon.com or call 1-800-859-4521 for all the details and to find the SNAP station nearest you. Yeah, this was the other big thing involved with this game. It was this large, eye-catching station located in most, if not all, Blockbuster videos in North America. You would simply bring your memory card with pictures taken in the game, and for $3 you can print out a sheet of stickers. I grew up in a pretty small town, and our Blockbuster most certainly had this. And to be honest, it's a great marketing idea. Not only is Nintendo making money on game sales, but I'm sure Blockbuster cashed out on the many rentals as kids wanted to get stickers made. It was hard to miss seeing this station in the stores. The stickers aren't precious Pokemon cards or anything, but they are yet another thing to collect and bedazzle their card binders. And no, I did not try calling the number. Then we get 5 pictures, some Pidgey flying around, 3 Poliwag on some grass, a scary close-up of a Shelter, 2 Charmanders screaming at you, and of course a Pikachu using Thundershock or something. And in the top right it says, "This is a game pack, not a camera," which is all too funny, as you know somebody out there bought this game believing it was a camera. So alright, let's check out the game proper. Let's channel our inner, I don't know, Peter Parker and go take some pictures of wild Pokemon. It's a pretty simple and calming intro, and I like it. The music is relaxing, and we get to see a boy walking through nature with his camera. This is Todd Snap, who is actually a character from the anime, and who we play as in this game. Todd tries to get a picture of what looks like a Mew darting around, but he can't quite get it as the title screen appears. Then we learn what we will be doing from Professor Oak himself, voiced by Stuart Zagnut, the English voice actor for Professor Oak in the anime.
Hello there. Hello there.
Actually, there are multiple voice actors from the anime here, but it's not a dialogue-heavy game by any means. So really, Pokemon Snap is more of an anime spin-off than the games. The first level you must play on is the beach. You don't start with any items other than the camera, and this is sort of a tutorial level, although you can replay it as many times as you want in the future. You are given the option for taking up to 60 pictures per safari trek. Zoom in the camera with Z and press A to snap a picture. You can freely look around in any direction in a first-person point of view as you ride around in a self-moving vehicle called the 01. You cannot ever control where it goes as it stays on the track, but later on you can control its speed. And those are all the controls you need from the start. It first shows you how to take pictures of some Pidgey flying by, then a Doduo pops out of the grass and runs by a Pikachu standing there as some Butterfree fly around in the back. This will be the basis for the entire game. Pokemon just doing things in their natural habitat, and you have to try to get the best pictures of them as possible. The levels themselves are not very long at all. It takes about 2.5 minutes to get through the entire beach area. and the Pokemon will always follow a scripted path, which at first could be very disappointing. The fun aspect of the game comes from memorizing what the Pokemon do, where they will be, and when to try and score more points on your pictures. For instance, on your first playthrough, you'll see a sleeping Snorlax that can't be identified, and you'll see some grass flying through the air. You're encouraged to remember these things and replay the level when you get different items down the line. Once you reach the end of the stage, you enter the camera check phase. This is where you get to examine and analyze your pictures. You are to mark the ones you think will get the most points by selecting one picture per Pokemon. Once you're satisfied with your pictures, you take them to Professor Oak to analyze them and assign points. Professor Oak grades on different categories. Size is determined by how much of the picture is taken up by the Pokemon itself. Pose is if the Pokemon is doing anything in particular. If it's not facing the camera like Kangaskhan here, you barely get anything. Technique is if the Pokemon is centered in the middle of the picture or not, which doubles your total. And then there are bonus points, such as if multiples of the same Pokemon are somewhere in the picture. And then you get a grand total and it goes into the Pokemon report. And that's essentially the entire game. Eventually you'll get items such as Pokemon food and Pester Balls to help steer the Pokemon to a different path or do things. The second stage is the Tunnel, which heavily centers around electric types. Electrode, Electabuzz, Pikachu, and Magnemite are featured here. Once you get pictures of enough different Pokemon, Professor Oak gives you Pokemon food to throw around. For example, throwing food to a stationary Electrode causes it to explode. If you snap a picture mid-explosion, you'll get even more points. Food also causes Pikachu to chase it down, and Magnemite demagnetizes to allow pictures. And that's really it for the game. The game is designed for many repeat visits to each area, as there really aren't too many. You are encouraged to try as many tactics as possible to see what the Pokemon will do. As far as my personal history with the game, I do remember seeing the Snap stations at Blockbuster and the game being on the shelves. I was in full-on Pokemon mode at this time, so I was excited to play it. I thought that you would be walking around similar to Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time, two of my favorite games at the time, but I do remember wishing it was a game like Red and Blue instead, something everybody wanted at the time. But I was excited to see what the game was like, and I made it a Blockbuster rental. I brought it home, and when you play the first level, I learned you have no control on where your 0-1 vehicle can go. I wasn't used to any on-rails game at the time, so the idea seemed so limiting. It wasn't a great first impression for that reason, but I thought the Pokemon looked great. I did quickly warm up to the game, and I really found it to be a ton of fun after getting into taking pictures with the most points. The game doesn't have a ton of replayability, but as I said, you are intended to replay the levels multiple times to focus on different Pokemon or find secrets. So the game became a multiple rental on occasion when I felt in the mood to play it. I don't really have money to go out and buy it, and it wasn't a game that I absolutely had to own, but I found it to be a solid rental when it sounded fun. I never did actually use the Snap stations though. I'm not sure why. I guess I didn't really want stickers or see the point in spending money on them. Why would I want small images of Pokemon on paper or cardboard? That would be silly. So Pokemon Snap did become a game my friends and I liked quite a bit, but it wasn't a favorite or anything. It was also fun naming the pictures, as you can imagine how creative us 13-year-olds would be. It's once again time for everybody's favorite segment of Where's That Pokemon? So let's find out where Parasect is in Pokemon Snap. Parasect is found nowhere in the game. Huh. What, is Parasect not good enough for your stupid little camera game? I take back everything I said. This game is trash, and the fact that they had the gall to not include the most photogenic Pokemon is an absolute sin. I wanted to ride around and notice a batch of red and yellow mushrooms, and you throw a Pester Ball and one of them moves, and oh my god, it's a Parasect, and it smiles and uses Spore or something, and everybody smiles back. But that's not the case here. So yeah, Parasect isn't in the game. The reception to Pokemon Snap was also quite positive. It tends to hover around B or high C grades, and is seen as a simple, fun game for any age. It's a low-stress game that can be a nice, relaxing time. But failing at getting excellent pictures could be a little frustrating on rare occasions, as you have to keep replaying the levels over and over. Overall, though, it's a fun little side game. Some of the criticisms came from the game only having 63 of the 151 available Pokemon, so Parasect wasn't alone in being an omission. There are only 7 levels in total, so it's also not a huge game. It would be over 20 years later when new Pokemon Snap is released, but we will be getting there way down the road for this Paraspective. Pokemon Snap ended up being the 11th best-selling Nintendo 64 game of all time, even beating out The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. It's the second best-selling Pokemon game on the system, but was yet another step down in sales from Pokemon Pinball. That is probably due to more people owning Game Boys or Game Boy Colors than Nintendo 64s. But next, we are going to be going 3.5 months into the future to October of 1999, giving North America its final Pokemon game release in the 90s. It's the end of an era, as we will be discussing a sort of remake of Pokemon Red and Blue. Join me next time in the Paraspective as we check out Pokemon Yellow Special Pikachu Edition. Paraspectre will return. Bonus! So in regards to anything I got wrong in Pokemon Pinball, there isn't much. The big one is me referring to the Game Boy Color as the predecessor to the Game Boy instead of the successor. Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy Color, the predecessor to the Game Boy that came out just a half a year earlier. I don't know what I was thinking or how I didn't catch that in editing, but there you go. I guess I was so proud of myself for using big words. And this wasn't anything I got wrong, but I should clarify that me referring to Elton John as the Pinball Wizard is not a mistake. A few people said Pinball Wizard is by The Who, and that's absolutely true, but Elton John played the Pinball Wizard in the 1975 film version of Tommy. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Do please give me a subscribe if you have not done so and wish to see more, and if you really wanted to go all out, check out the Patreon or Bonfire pages to support the channel in so many ways, with sincere thanks from me. Like, seriously. I'll see you all in part 4.